on my own island. I can think the thoughts I want to think. I can do the work I want to do and free to explore as I see fit.
In the annals of crime, few cases have revealed so much about how power operates in modern society. This isn't just a story about one man's depravity. It's a story about a system, a web of wealth, influence, and silence that allowed horrific crimes to continue for decades. A story that continues to unfold even now as new revelations emerge from sealed court documents. Tonight, we trace that web from its beginning to its latest, shocking revelations.
We were underage. We were little girls.
I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
She's like, oh, do you need to make any extra money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, I can give you, like $200. It's this older guy in Palm Beach. He gets a lot of massages from girls. That was really nice.
I was unaware that I was going to be alone with him. I thought I was going to die.
Prince Andrew and the former President Bill Clinton have been named.
They will contain the names of people associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
More are expected to come out.
Would you raise your hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am. Would you please state your full name?
I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
Jeffrey Epstein entered the public consciousness as a man of mystery, a financier whose wealth seemed to materialize from nowhere, a bachelor who owned multiple mansions, a private island, and a fleet of aircraft. But behind this glittering facade was a meticulously constructed machine for predation. The scale was staggering. More than 100 girls, some as young as 14, would later come forward with eerily similar stories.
He started touching himself. I was unaware that I was going to be alone with him. I thought I was going to die.
Epstein's secret weapon was Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of the disgraced media tycoon Robert Maxwell. She provided the social credentials Epstein lacked, introducing him to the elite circles where power and influence converged.
So I heard about Jeffrey Epstein sort of on the social Upper East Side grapevine in New York for a couple of years around the end of the 1990s and early 2000s. He was a figure of mystery in that all people really knew about him was he had kind of out of nowhere, known to be unconventional. People thought he was very good looking. And the only thing that people really knew about him, his sort of connector to the outside world, was somebody I knew. It was Ghislaine Maxwell.
Their partnership was symbiotic. Epstein provided the money, Maxwell provided the access. Together, they built a global network of properties that served as both status symbols and hunting grounds, from the Upper East Side mansion in Manhattan to the oceanfront estate in Palm Beach, from the Paris apartment to the private Caribbean island. Each location was a node in their trafficking operation.
This is New York, this is Palm Beach, this is California, this is Paris, this is London. This is wherever Epstein was touching down. He needed to have girls on constant call. In every single state or every place that he goes to, he's already got people lined up and makers making that happen.
The recruitment followed a precise pattern targeting specific vulnerabilities. In the wealthy enclaves of Palm Beach, they sought girls from struggling families, teenagers for whom $200 represented a fortune.
At 14, I was still in middle school. I was straight-A student, never even got a B. I played the first chair trumpet. I was the captain of the cheerleading squad. And then after I met Jeffrey, I just completely quit.
For Virginia Roberts Giuffre, working at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club at 16, the approach was more sophisticated. Maxwell presented herself as a mentor, offering career advancement and world travel.
She just seemed very nice, and she said, I've got a person that I know who's actually looking for a traveling masseuse. And if you want, I can get you an interview with him. If he likes you, we can get you educated. You'll be a real masseuse. And you'll get to travel and see the world. And like she made it sound like it was a dream come true. And it wasn't.
The abuse followed a terrible ritual. The massage was always the pretext. Then, the violation.
So put it this way, we did the back of him, we did the back of Epstein, and then when he turned over, that's when I was instructed to get undressed and have sex with Jeffrey Epstein while Ghislaine Maxwell was participating as well.
For many victims, Maxwell's participation was the most psychologically devastating aspect.
I don't mean to sound sexist in any way, shape, or form, but I expected it from a man, but I didn't expect it from a woman. And, yeah, I think that's what hurts the most.
The operation expanded through coercion. Victims, now trapped by shame and financial dependency, were pressured to recruit others, creating a pyramid scheme of abuse.
How many girls do you think you brought to Jeffrey Epstein?
At the minimum 50, but anywhere from 50 to 70 girls. The same ages of me, 14, 15, 16. I just hold a lot of guilt and shame for doing those things. And just to know that I had any influence on that happening to somebody else, just, it's just devastating and breaks my heart.
Long before the Palm Beach investigation, there were warnings that went unheeded. The first came in 1996 from artist Maria Farmer and her younger sister Annie. After being assaulted by Epstein and Maxwell, Maria did what any citizen would do. She called the FBI.
Ghislaine came in to get me one evening. Ghislaine escorts me to Jeffrey's room, and he's lying there, and he goes, well, here, sit down, And so right next to him, and then Ghislaine sits on the other side, and they began assaulting me. But really, while I was lying there the whole time, I'm thinking, my sister's been around these people. My sister was 16. She's been around them alone.
The FBI took a report, then did nothing. Maria's complaint was filed away, the first in what would become a pattern of institutional failure.
They just kept it all quiet, put it in the bottom drawer. And they were so dismissive that I just felt daunted and I stopped.
6 years later, in 2002, journalist Vicky Ward was assigned by Vanity Fair to profile the mysterious financier. What began as a business story quickly turned dark when she met the Farmer sisters.
My then boss at Vanity Fair magazine, Graydon Carter, phoned me up and said, I've been hearing about this guy for years. Nobody knows who he is, where he got his money from, what his deal is. And that was how it all began.
When Epstein learned Ward was speaking to the sisters, his response was immediate and menacing.
He treated the entire thing as a game. Okay, let's play chess. I'll be black, you be white, you get the first move. And from there, it descended into a sort of horrific game of cat and mouse. He would phone me every day. And then he told me that if he didn't like what I was going to write, he was going to have his witch doctor place a curse on my unborn children.
Epstein then visited Graydon Carter, the editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair. Shortly after that meeting, the Farmer sisters' allegations were cut from the story. The system had failed twice. First law enforcement, then the media. But in 2005, a routine police call in Palm Beach would set in motion events that even Epstein's influence couldn't completely control.
It was an incident that occurred maybe like three and a half weeks ago with one of my stepdaughters. Found out that ended up being that they went to Palm Beach to a gentleman's house, and they start off by giving this gentleman a massage, and he pays them. If he likes them and he thinks that they're pretty enough, he keeps them around to do other things. Okay. So I wasn't quite sure if there was an investigation or if you guys had any word.
Well, this is the first I'm hearing of it.
The Palm Beach Police Department launched what would become one of the most significant investigations in its history. Detective Joe Reckery and his team methodically built a case that would eventually involve over 40 victims. The evidence was overwhelming and chilling.
Did Jeff know anybody's real true age, or he didn't care?
I don't think he cared. He told me the younger the better.
He asked me to take my shirt off, so I took my shirt off.
Okay, so were you in bra or were you topless?
I ended up being topless, yeah.
And he started getting a little excited about it, and he started touching himself.
During the massage, did he ask you to remove your pants, or?
Yeah.
Police found nude photographs of minors, a steam room, a massage room with sex toys, and most damningly, phone message pads that clearly showed a trade in young girls, scheduling them for appointments like commodities. Flight logs listed girls being transported aboard Epstein's private plane, the now infamous Lolita Express. In 2006, Epstein was finally arrested. The evidence pointed to federal sex trafficking charges that could put him away for life. But then, something remarkable happened. The justice system began to bend under the weight of Epstein's influence. Epstein assembled a legal dream team including Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz and celebrity attorney Roy Black. They bypassed the prosecutors working the case and went straight to senior officials. What emerged in 2008 was not justice, but a deal that would become a textbook example of prosecutorial corruption. The terms were shocking. Epstein pleaded guilty to 2 minor state prostitution charges. He would serve just 13 months in the Palm Beach County stockade, but with a stunning concession, 12-hour daily work release.
It was essentially a slap on the wrist. He got 12-hour work release from prison every single day. Other journalists have described it as he just basically had to sleep in a crappy motel for, a bit over a year.
For the victims, this was a second, profound betrayal.
To be sexually abused by a man and have the government know, and then actually, co-conspire with the perpetrator to make sure nothing happens to him is just so, it just sounds unreal.
So you believe that there was a conspiracy at play here?
Oh, absolutely.
For a decade, the 2008 deal held. Epstein traveled freely, his reputation largely intact among elite circles. But the victims were organizing. Virginia Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell for defamation, a legal action that would ironically become the vehicle for truth. The turning point came in November 2018. Miami Herald investigative reporter Julie K. Brown published Perversion of Justice, a series that meticulously detailed the corrupt plea deal. The public response was immediate and overwhelming. The pressure on the Department of Justice became unbearable. On July 6, 2019, as Epstein's private plane landed at New Jersey's Teterboro Airport from Paris, FBI agents boarded and arrested him. He was charged with sex trafficking of minors, crimes that could put him in prison for life.
I never thought it was going to happen. I honestly thought he was just going to continue to get away with it over and over and over again, just like he proved so many times. It was like Christmas in July.
Billionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein has been arrested, charged with sex trafficking involving underage girls.
He could face up to 45 years behind bars.
But on August 10, 2019, just over a month after his arrest, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. The official ruling? Suicide by hanging.
Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life.
The bombshell development, raising many new questions.
The circumstances would fuel conspiracy theories that persist to this day: malfunctioning cameras, guards who fell asleep, Epstein removed from suicide watch just days earlier. With Epstein dead, all attention turned to Ghislaine Maxwell. She became the most wanted woman in the world. After nearly a year on the run, the FBI tracked her to a luxurious 156-acre property in New Hampshire. On July 2nd, 2020, they arrested her.
This day to me has been like one of the best days of my life. I have not stopped smiling.
Today we announced the arrest of one of the villains in this investigation.
Maxwell's trial in December 2021 was the reckoning Epstein had escaped. The testimony was harrowing. Victims described in detail how Maxwell recruited them, groomed them, and sometimes participated in their abuse.
A lot of what Jeffrey Epstein got away with, he wouldn't have been able to do without her helping to recruit, groom, and entice underage girls.
But she wasn't just the organizer, was she? She was also an abuser herself.
In June 2022, Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years in prison. With Maxwell imprisoned, many believed the story was over. They were wrong. Ghislaine Maxwell had amassed a mountain of evidence over years of litigation. For a decade, these documents were sealed. But in January 2024, following a court order, the first batch was released. Then, in late 2025, compelled by new transparency legislation, thousands more pages flooded into the public domain.
Prince Andrew and the former President Bill Clinton have been named.
They will contain the names of people associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
More are expected to come out.
The documents didn't provide a simple client list, but something more forensically valuable. A social map of the conspiracy. They named over 150 associates, billionaires, academics, politicians, royals, mostly as potential witnesses or people mentioned in depositions. Their presence in the files raised uncomfortable questions. The documents revealed what investigators had long suspected. Epstein's operation may have served a dual purpose: sexual gratification and blackmail. This suspicion was corroborated by victim Sarah Ransom, who claimed under oath to have seen video recordings.
It's no secret that everything was recorded. I've also seen recordings in his office. There are videos that exist. The people that know they exist, I'm sure, are very frightened of them being released.
Beyond Virginia Giuffre's allegations, there was sworn testimony from a second woman, Johanna Schoberg, who claimed the Duke groped her in Epstein's New York mansion. The latest document releases in late 2025 revealed even more startling details. Coded emails between Maxwell and associates, references to the invisible man allegedly referring to Prince Andrew, and flight logs showing more extensive travel by powerful figures on Epstein's planes then. Perhaps most striking was the reaction.
Yes, well, I've been quite surprised at the silence over the last couple of weeks, if I'm completely honest. I would have thought that at least some of these people would have felt an obligation to do some explaining.
Today, the legacy of Jeffrey Epstein is a landscape of partial justice and unanswered questions. A compensation fund has paid over $121 million to more than 150 survivors. Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence. Prince Andrew was stripped of his military titles and royal patronages and settled a civil lawsuit for a reported $15 million. But the central mystery remains: who else participated, and to what extent? The tragedy is compounded by the knowledge that it could have been stopped decades earlier. If the FBI had acted in 1996, if the media hadn't been intimidated in 2002, if prosecutors hadn't cut a corrupt deal in 2008.
Do you reflect on how different life would be for so many women today if the FBI had investigated your complaints in 1996?
Yeah. I think about it all the time. I do. And it hurts a lot. And I never had children because of it. Because I didn't feel like they would be safe.
The Epstein files now stand as a permanent public record, a map of a web that connected the powerless to the powerful. They prove that the true conspiracy wasn't just in the crimes themselves, but in the silence that enabled them for decades.
We've got evidence of sworn testimony where people are naming very, very powerful people who would have been in a position potentially to do something about what was going on here.
The story is unfinished. Over 1 million documents remain sealed. Investigations in multiple jurisdictions remain technically open. New names continue to emerge from the files. What we already know is damning enough. A web was deliberately woven in the shadows. its threads reaching the highest levels of global society. Its final unraveling may take years, or it may never be complete. But the victim's courage has ensured that this story can never again be fully buried. This story continues to evolve. As more documents are reviewed and new investigations unfold, we will update you with the latest developments. The pursuit of truth in the Epstein case remains active. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell to follow this ongoing story as new revelations emerge. The search for accountability is far from over.